This is where we disagree now.
Okay, now please.
Because I said
what
to you
I'm saying
that
is,
the
please,
hikmah
but now you have to do.
comes from the Qur'an.
Okay, listen, don't disagree so far, but what I'm saying it's not the same thing as the Quran.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now you've committed a fallacy.
No, I haven't, because you can only get the.
There's nothing I can do.
No, brother, you
You've
can
rejected
only.
the Quran.
No, brother, I've not. Because
Yeah,
you can
okay.
only get the hikmah
You've
in the
rejected the
Qur'an.
Morocco, they speak pseudo-Arabic, yeah? If we use the Moroccan Arabic to interpret the Quran, what would be the end result?
To translate the Qur'an. You see,
No, just to understand it in Arabic.
but even to understand it in English, it can be understood in English. Because Allah knows that you.
No,
See,
but
what you got to
who's
remember.
translating it?
What you got to remember, then, it comes back to what I said earlier.
No, bro, please, stick with me.
I am, brother, I am. But I'm trying to cut short your point that you're trying to
stick with
make.
me, please, because you seem like a nice guy, but you do seem like a nice guy. But do you know what you have to do? Please listen, yeah? Okay, what I'm saying to you is, the Arabic of the Quran, do you agree with me that it's the Arabic of the Prophet Muhammad?
Yeah.
And the Arabic of his companions?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we can't use the Arabic of today to interpret the Arabic of the Quran. Because if we did, we'd have a different book. We'd literally have a different book. I'm an Arab, I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, I can tell you that as an Egyptian person, yeah? So I know the Arabic of the Egyptians, and I know the Arabic of the Quran. Okay, so we can't use the Arabic of the Egyptians today to interpret the Arabic of the Quran. I would have some ridiculous changes being made.
Okay, my question to you is, why is the language mutated then?
Pardon?
Why is the language that the Prophet spoke in was the language of the Quran?
Yes.
Why is the language of the Arabs today mutated other than what it was originally?
That's good. I like that question. So it's changed, yeah?
Why and who did
Okay,
it?
but hold on.
And what was the purpose? What was the agenda?
No, I'm happy with that. Language changes, that happens everywhere.
Why should it?
Okay, why should it? That's a different question.
Have you heard of
We're not going into linguistics. I'm not going to go into it. I'm going to say, this is my question to you. How do we know what the Arabs of the time of the Prophet Muhammad meant when they used certain words?
Allah says in Surah 25 verse 30.
How do you know he said that?
Because Allah says so.
No, but hold on.
Because I believe every word in the Quran is that of Allah's
Let
word.
me tell you something.
I don't need
What
convincing.
translation did you look at?
I check out 7 different translations.
Which? Give me some examples. Just 2 or 3 examples, please.
Muhammad Pictol's one.
Pictol's one, okay.
Yusuf.
Islam.
Ali.
Yusuf Ali.
Quran corpse on the internet.
Shukran Habibi. Do you know why you have to be stopped right there?
There's 7 translations. So you
Okay,
can see
all of those translations, by the way, for your knowledge, when they're making translations of the Quran, they consult the Hadith.
Okay.
Point 1. Point 2, they have to consult the Arabic of that time. So they go to what you call the Mu'ajim, or the books, the dictionaries of that particular time period. And they also look at the poetry of the Arabs, called the Sha'r al-Jahili, yeah? Is Arabic poetry. Now, if you didn't have if you didn't have hadiths, and if you didn't have dictionaries of the time, and if you didn't have such poetry, would we be able to know what the Quran is saying, yes or no?
Yes.
How?
Because Allah says in Surah 25.
No.
Example.
No, but you're saying he said that.
We bring you the truth.
No, but hold on.
And the best tafsir.
You see
That's a circular argument.
Explanation.
Okay.
So the Quran
Right.
gives its own tafsir
Let me tell you something. I'll teach you something of logic, please. Let me teach you something.
Because you're trying to justify
No,
your reason
please,
for
please.
accepting and embracing hadith.
Accept the logic.
And that you can't
No,
understand
hold
the
on.
Quran.
Here we go. You have to learn logic here. In logic, you have something called circular reasoning. Yeah. You can't use a thing to prove a thing. Okay.
So you can't use the Quran to prove itself legitimate.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what you just said?
No. So you can't use one thing to prove the existence of the same thing.
We can use the Quran.
No, let me tell you what I mean by that. If I say to you, is blue blue? And you say, yeah, blue is blue. Why? And you say the answer is because blue is blue. That's circular reasoning. Okay. Now, if the same thing is, so you say blue is blue because, and you start giving external reasons why blue is blue. That's what you call sound reasoning. So there's a difference between circular reasoning, which is logically fallacious, it's wrong, it doesn't make sense, and that which is a sound reasoning. Now we're saying the language of the Quran is Arabic, the Arabic of the Quraysh, the Arabic of the people of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, his companions. I know you're thinking maybe Quraysh and other tribes around. Okay, fine. Fine. Quraysh and other tribes around. And the language of the companions. My point to you is, if we don't have an extensive resource list other than from the Qur'an, the Quranic language would in effect become a dead language. It would be untranslatable, unreadable.
I don't believe that.
Okay,
Because
then you're going against logic.
No, forget about logic. It comes back to what Allah says.
Forget about logic.
I've preserved this book.
So,
I've created.
how do you know he said that?
It says it in the Quran. This is
But
not.
how do you know he said
You're
that?
having an argument or a discussion with me about believing the unseen, which we shouldn't even be having that discussion, because I believe in the unseen.
So, just to
if you
clarify-
believe in the unseen, there's no point you
No,
trying to
now
make
you-
me
now you-
justify
now
or
you-
legitimize
sorry,
my
sorry.
belief in the
Yeah,
unseen,
yeah,
because we have the same.
Because
belief
now
in
you've
the
fallen
unseen.
into the trap. Because this is a big trap. Actually, it's not an easy trap as well. You've fallen into a deep trap. The trap that you've fallen into is a trap where you actually believe that you can prove a thing, its existence, by using that thing. Okay, now I'm saying the Arabic language itself.
Yeah.
How can you read it? How do you know what it says? How do you know what it says?
You see, this is what you're going again, innit? You're going in circles here. You got to understand
Push me while you're-
that when Allah created, when He created Adam, innit, the plan was already.
How do you know He created Adam? Look, please.
I'm talking from the Quran.
Now,
innit?
please.
Now
Akhi,
you're saying
you're relying on translations, yeah?
all translations are the same.
Okay, no, they're not.
You're
No, they're
actually
not.
rejecting that I'm wrong when I'm saying that
No,
Allah created
please,
Adam.
please, Cameron, listen to me. Listen carefully, yeah? I'm saying to you, say for example, now let me make it so easy for you. You stumble across a language, lines, squiggly lines, yeah? You're a historian now, Cameron, yeah? You want to know what this language says. What's your first action? Maybe radiocarbon date it to see what error it came in, what geography, whatever.
see-
Listen, please, to the end. Then what you do is you try and find legitimate translations. Okay. What I'm saying to you, that the Arabic of the Arabs is being preserved by chain of narration.
Okay.
Now, the Fusha Arabic, or let's say the Quranic Arabic, is alive today. It's not a dead language. It's alive today, being spoken by millions of people. Can be spoken by millions of people, by virtue of the fact that we have chains of narration. Had we not had those chains of narration, the Arabic language would be a dead language. We would not be able to interpret the Quran.
But this is what I say. That's why it comes back when Allah says in the Quran that I have preserved this book.
Yes, He preserved it using these methods.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
So
Now,
no, not
Well-
through change of narrations.
What?
He's preserved the language of the
how?
Quran
How then?
through civilizations or through people that have come and gone and lived.
Yeah, okay,
This
what
is
did they
passed
do?
on
What
like the
did-
English
what
language?
did-
It's been
Well,
since
hold
the
on.
16th
How
century.
did
It's
these
still
people,
spoken
what did
today.
these people do when they come and gone and lived?
Spoke their language.
And then what did they do to preserve
So
it?
I speak my language,
What
and
did they
as
do
my
to-
children speak the language that I
What they-
speak in,
what-
and as your kids will speak the language you speak in, it
Oh.
just gets passed down.
What does this remind you of?
Gets passed down.
Gets passed down as well.
No. Yeah, but you're using it to justify your reason. See, this is what
Bro,
I said
see,
to you
that's the
earlier.
thing. Now you become-
You're trying to say
Look,
that the Quran was passed down through change of narrations. That's why we can legitimately accept, because Hadith to be passed down through change of
Yeah,
narrations.
same thing. But
If we are rejecting this, we got to reject the Quran because we accepting the change of narrations. So therefore, we got to accept the change of narrations
Cameron.
of the Quran.
I'm not- I'm not-
saying no.
Cameron, you have a
can't
I'm saying that
conflate the two.
both of the things have chains of narration. I've told you this one hadith, من كذب علي متعمدا فليتبوأ مقعده من النار. This hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some say it's got 42 chains of narration. Some say it's got 120 chains of narration.
It's irrelevant.
Okay,
It's
you-
absolutely right.
No, it's-
Surah 70 verse 36. Do not uphold that which you have no knowledge of, as the hearing and the eyes and the mind all will be held
Chapter
accountable.
70.
17. Why does Allah say your ears and your eyes and your mind? You know what I understand?
It doesn't say
Because
mind, it says it's the heart.
the translations on your mind, your brain.
It doesn't say mind.
Why did the translation said mind though?
Okay, what did you say what it is?
How? So, an interesting topic.
إن السمع والبصر والفؤاد كل this
كل
one.
ذلك كان عليه مسؤول.
Yeah.
The point is,
Fuad
you read the
Sa'd.
translation, it said mind.
Yeah.
What made you trust it?
So what does it say then? You tell me what your understanding
It doesn't
is.
matter. I'm asking you
It
questions.
doesn't
What
matter.
made you- what
Of
made
course
you-
it matters. If you feel that
No,
I've
it
got
doesn't
it
matter.
wrong,
It doesn't matter. Then obviously, I mean, that's why we're
I'm
having this
telling you,
discussion.
I'll tell you why.
That's obviously why
I'll tell
discussion.
you
What
why.
made you trust it?
Because firstly
Yeah,
and
that's a good
foremostly, why did Allah say hearing of the eyes and then the mind? Because we
Didn't say
wasn't there at the time to hear whether the Prophet said these acts or did these acts. So we didn't actually see him do these acts. So we use this in it.
What acts? What do you mean?
Whatever acts have been attributed to him, whatever sayings have been attributed to him, whatever they are.
Okay.
Right? So I didn't hear it, I didn't see it. So I used my mind to come to the conclusion. How? Because I studied the Quran. So I
Right.
studied the Quran, then I come to the conclusion. The Prophet never said that. The Prophet never did this.
So in other words,
the Prophet never acted, behaved in this demonic or satanic way. No, he never did. Why can I say that? Because I'm studying what he was following, what
other
he
words-
was living according
in
to.
other words, the reason
and I
why-
could come to the conclusion that he never did this, and he never said that. That's what I can say.
That's it. So in other words, the reason why I believe that the original Arabic said mind is because it made sense to me, right? Because obviously right now, for example, you said I
Okay.
hear, I see, and then
Yeah, yeah.
you're using my mind. So it can make sense to me.
Okay.
That's
Yeah.
why the translation mind made sense to me. Not because it has any relationship to the Arabic, just because it made sense to me.
I don't know.
So if I
See,
say- if I
for
tell-
me,
if
it's
I
not
tell you-
important.
if I tell you that
See,
the Arabic said Qur'an-
let me say a little bit about myself.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm grown up in this country.
Okay.
From the age of 7, I went to the mosque to the age of 14.
Okay.
As a hafiz, right? But
You
I
were
used to
hafiz?
always, yeah. I used to always question a
So
lot
what
of
happened,
things.
Akhi, man? You forgot all the Arabic.
No, yeah, you can say that because you know what?
Where did you learn it?
I learned. I realized one thing since I've started studying not reading it, since I've started studying the Quran.
Right.
Allah says in the Quran, and I think it's Surah 4, verse 43, "Oh, you acknowledge, do not come near the salah while you are drunk,
لا تقربوا الصلاة
right?
والسلام.
Until you know what you are saying." And that is why does he say that?
حتى
Firstly,
تعلموا ما
obviously,
تقولون.
don't come to salah while you're drunk because you don't know what you're saying. But it also means if you don't recite the Arabic language as many Muslims do around the world. It's not even their language. They don't even understand it.
Yeah.
But they sit there, they read it, and they cry over it like they know what they're reading. Allah is telling them that you reading your book in that state is as though you are drunk. Because you got to remember, he's saying to the Arabs.
That's quite interesting.
You got to remember. You gotta
Okay,
remember.
but so that's-
let me finish.
that's-
Let me finish.
so-
You got to remember
so
that
for-
this verse was revealed at a time to Arabs who spoke the language of the Quran. It was their language. But when you're in a drunken state, they don't understand what they're saying.
Right.
So he's telling them that it is your language, but don't come to while you are drunk. Now, fast forward to 1400 years to here where we are today. Muslims, non-Muslims that don't speak Arabic language, but they can read the Arabic language. I'm one of them. I can read it. What purpose does that serve me that I've been a hafiz of the Quran off by heart and I couldn't apply it in my life? No meaning.
No,
So
if you're done.
that, so that,
No, if you're
no,
done.
but what I'm saying, that verse there is meaning to people who recite the Quran, they don't understand it, and yet they think they're getting it's a good deed, they're getting swab for it as they call it. But it's not a good deed. It's as though you're in a drunken state, you're reading a book that you don't understand.
What you should have done when you memorized the Quran, you should have got a translation alongside.
Well, you know, I never did it, but the little bits.
So like, why is it either or?
Let me
Like,
finish
okay.
it because the little time that I did read the translation, there was always one or two verses that always stuck in my head.
Right.
One was that the Prophet is a plain warner. This was the one that always used to stick in my. No other verse would never stick in my head, but this one used to always stick in my head. And that another verse that used to stick in my head, that I have no power, I can't tell you what's right and wrong. And yet I used to hear all these stories that the Prophet split the moon in half and it fell down in the backyard and that he did these huge miracles.
It's actually in the
And I used to
Quran. It's
think-
actually in the
That's the
Quran, by the
Quran.
way.
And I
So
used to
if you
think-
believe in the Quran, you believe in that.
اقتربت
No, I
الساعة
think it's
وانشق
all
القمر.
down to interpretation, what you've interpreted.
So when Allah says اقتربت الساعة وانشق القمر, that
What
the
does he
moon
say?
has split.
Yeah, but what does he say? It doesn't say the Prophet pointed it split.
No.
You've added the bits in to say the Prophet did it.
Did I say
Allah
the Prophet
narrates
did it?
hadith, but it's
we
trying to
don't believe the
understand what
Prophet
that means, eh?
We don't believe the Prophet
No
did
one
it.
believes the Prophet.
Of course I
did it.
believe the Prophet.
No,
Not a silly
no,
thing
I
to
said
say.
we don't believe the Prophet did it.
Also, you don't believe it, do you?
No, not the splitting of the moon. Allah did that.
Yeah. See, that's what I say, innit? But
Yeah, okay,
but
same. So there's no problem.
But there's people that say no, the Prophet
Sorry.
did it. The Prophet did it, and I said the Prophet.
No,
did
no one
it.
says that, Akhi, man.
Well, maybe you lot don't, but the general
Anyways, no,
consensus.
the Prophet, yeah, he pointed, but Allah did it.
Also, no, he didn't or he did.
He didn't do it.
But he pointed,
Allah, he pointed, yeah.
and it split.
Yeah.
And what happened to it?
He split, didn't it?
And where did it go?
It
Fell in Ali's
backyard.
backyard.
He's back out.
Ali's son.
By the way, now you're making fun of the Quran.
No, I'm not. You see, I'm just
anyways,
telling you.
All the point is,
Yeah.
the point is that you have.
don't pray.
Of course I pray.
You pray?
Yeah, of
Like
course I
a
pray.
like a
Of course.
How do you pray? How do you perform?
Okay, let me ask you one question. I'm answering your question with a question. Allah said to all the angels, prostrate yourselves to Adam. All prostrated except. What was he meant to do? What was Iblis meant to do? Was he meant to do this? Or was he meant to do this? No, I'm asking you, Akhi.
I did prostrate.
What was he meant to do, Akhi? He doesn't know.
He was meant to prostrate.
What? Define to me what prostration is, Akhi.
No, I mean prostration is translation of the original Arabic, which means sujood.
What is that?
Sujood is to bow.
Put your head on the floor, innit? So now I've answered your question.
So you pray.
Allah says you're
You do wudu before.
standing,
We pray. How do you pray?
bowing, prostrated. I've just told you, Akhi.
Akhi, how do you do your wudu before you pray?
Yeah, do the
How do you do it?
Allah says in the Quran. You don't believe it says in the Quran.
No, of course it does.
So why are you asking me then?
How do you actually-
You should be asking me these questions.
How
If
do
you
you
know
do
it's in the Quran, you're asking somebody that believes in the Quran. You should
No,
be
I'm
asking.
I'm wondering.
What's the Inshallah.
Check it one right there.
Well,
It's two verses.
I've not done it yet. Inshallah, I will.
When you go to do Hajj, how do you know that you should go to Arafah? Then to other
Who said that? Who said that? I'm asking who said that? It's not in the Quran, is it? So what is your Hajj? What is the purpose of your Hajj? What is the purpose of Hajj? No, Akhi. What is the purpose of Hajj? What is the whole purpose to people to Hajj?
من هو؟
That's the problem.
أي شخص
What is the purpose of Hajj? Tawheed just means the oneness. The oneness of Allah. Second, yeah, go around.
Akhi, so look, let me just cut it off. Are you, oh, sorry, sir. You got to ask him. What did you ask him?
No, I haven't.
He would prefer Hajj.
Inshallah.
So how are you going to do Hajj?
See, it comes back to what I said to you before. You're
You go
asking me
you go around
questions.
7 times?
I've been only studying for 2 years.
Okay.
Now let me tell you my study.
Yeah, go on.
Then you can work on that. Every morning before Fajr, 45 minutes before Fajr, I read all the
Wallahi, I
time.
feel sorry for you, man.
No, let me finish.
Do you know why? Because
Maybe
you're
once or
a
twice.
sincere guy. You're a sincere guy, man. If you're doing that, and you know what? A lot of people that
Allah
believe in the
says-
hadith don't do that.
Allah says in
It's true, it's true, isn't
Allah
it?
says in Surah 77 verse 50, so in what hadith after this will you acknowledge? If you believe that Allah's got 4 challenges, the one challenge is bring a Qur'an like this, right?
Yeah.
Bring 10 surahs like this,
Yeah.
bring 1 surah like this, let them produce a hadith like this. So why do you accept the other 3 nobody can do, but yet you denounce the 4th one?
No, we're not
So
denouncing
you're
it.
saying that by believing hadith, you're saying that
I know
that the
that
hadith is the same as the Quran. You've got so many misconceptions about
Brother,
the
I
nature of
haven't.
hadith, the nature of Quran.
there's
is
a
it?
hadith in the
Okay.
Quran where Allah
You
says,
keep cutting me off. I don't cut you off.
no,
Go on.
sorry, Akhi. Let me just finish this one. There's a hadith in the Quran, and I think it's Surah 60, verse 12. It could be that, or it could be Surah 33, verse 53. The Prophet narrates a hadith to his wife. He narrates a hadith to his wife, not to his companions.
That's 66. That's 66.
66, verse 12. Or 3.
What are you talking about? 3.
Is it Surah 66, verse 3?
Yes.
Is it? I can't remember.
Wait,
The Prophet narrates a hadith
Yeah.
to his wife, and his wife goes, and I think she changes it. Then the Prophet reprimands his wife, and she says, how did you know? He said, because Allah told me. Now, why did Allah specifically narrate this one hadith? Why? Who can be more...
I'm really confused by it. What is he saying?
Okay, I'm saying that why did Allah use firstly the word hadith?
The hadith words mean the words hadith. Okay, this is the problem. Okay.
No, this is not a problem.
Okay,
Because Allah is
there's so many problems here. Please. Because you don't know Arabic, so you have to.
It's not relevant.
No, of course it's relevant.
Absolutely, brother.
So-
it's not.
Why would you mean it's not relevant? Of
So
course
you
it's
saying
not
that
relevant.
for
So the word hadith,
all converts that
Yeah.
convert to Islam,
they have to allow
not-
translations. And people that can translate the Arabic into English. Of course they do. Like yourself, you allow translation.
Absolutely.
Okay, so who
I'm not
translates
saying-
the Quran?
I'm not saying, brother, it's
Okay, bro,
imperatively
but
important
I'm
for me
asking
to,
you, who translates the Quran? Someone who knows Arabic or
be
not?
able to converse in the Arabic language. That's what I'm saying, brother.
Please, bro, please. Have just a second to think, yeah? When the Quran says it uses the word hadith, you have to understand the word haddatha yuhaddithu, yeah? Speak in Arabic, it means speak. Hadith means speak.
Speech.
Yeah, hadith is what you call a masdar, it's like a gerund, yeah? So here, what I'm saying is, you have to understand, when the Quran uses the word hadith, it's not referring to the hadiths. Now the hadith,
Why is it not?
I'll tell you why.
Why?
Please, hold on, let me
Because it doesn't suit your narrative.
Please, calm down, please.
Yes, brother,
Please,
I'm telling
please,
you.
please.
Just a
It
second.
doesn't suit your
Just a
narrative.
second.
Just a second.
Let me just finish off the
When
thought.
did hadith become called hadith? Did you know that the hadith, we quote hadith after the Quran was revealed?
Yeah. Okay.
If that's true, then you just agreed with it.
No, I'm trying to think what you're actually saying. You're saying the word hadith was invented after the Quran, but yet it was using the Quran, the word.
No.
That's what I said. I said hadith as a term, as a scientific term, referring to the narrations that we have today of the Prophet ﷺ, were referred to as that science after the Quran was revealed. So it cannot have been meant with intending that. Does that make sense now? The science of hadith.
You sound like Christians who try to justify.
Okay,
one
so
God.
instead of responding to my point, you're just saying I'm sounding like a
the
Christian.
Spirit is a God.
No,
God
so
is a
bro.
God.
Let me make it so simple. Let me make it so simple. We believe in hadith as a science.
It's a
Now, referring to hadith as a science using the term hadith came actually much later than the Prophet's generation. With me so far, yes or no?
Okay, go on.
If anything is unclear, just let me know.
This is on
No, is that clear? Is
that clear or not?
Is it
No,
clear?
it's clear, but I understand what you're saying, but I don't accept it.
Why do you not accept it? Have you got any evidence to the contrary?
No, I don't, because
So then what? How can you make a case? with no evidence?
you're trying to now justify your belief
No, 'cause
when
no-
Allah
so-
has challenged you to
so
let you
if
produce
you-
a hadith
if you-
like this.
so very-
because
very
you're
simply-
falling into that,
Please,
you're
please,
doing it. Now
yeah.
you're trying to legitimize what it is that you're doing, why you believe it.
So if you're saying,
the challenge is there.
so if you're saying I'm not being objective, tell me no, you're not being objective because A, B, C, D. You're wrong. What you're saying is wrong because A, B, C, D. Otherwise, you're just talking. You're just like anyone saying anything, right? So what I'm saying is, hadith as a science, which we believe in as Muslims.
Science. Why use the word science?
Okay, I'm
when
sorry.
It's not a science.
I apologize.
This is what I don't
I'll
understand.
take that back. Please forgive me. No longer hadith as the thing which we're talking about right now, not science. We believe in it and we call it hadith. We started calling it that much later than the Prophet's time.
So, okay, well, so there's a verse in the Quran, and I think
Okay,
it's
so
Surah
instead-
33, verse 53.
Okay, look,
When,
so I'm saying something.
No,
saying
please,
another thing.
please.
No, because you're saying
All I'm trying
you're saying that it's coming
Cameron,
after the
Cameron,
Quran.
Please, can you just
Please listen
understand?
to it.
I'm gonna. The way it's gonna work now, I'm gonna say something. If you understand what I'm trying to say,
Okay, then.
and you accept it, fantastic. If you don't accept it, tell me no, you're wrong because A, B, C, D. Okay? Hadith, meaning that thing which the Prophet, the life of the
Speech.
Prophet, what he did exactly. The Prophet's speech,
And his actions,
and his
by the way.
actions, and his statements,
Yeah.
and his life essentially.
Yes.
We started referring to the life of the Prophet and his speeches as hadith later on than the Quran's revelation. Do you understand that point? Is that point clear?
You can also call it sunnah.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's
we
call
refer
it
to-
sunnah.
That's
For
what we
now.
refer to as
We
sunnah.
call- that's what we call it
actually
sunnah, yeah.
means literally the way of
The word of
life.
the Prophet.
But that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to say now, you said hadith in the Quran is referring to the hadith, which is the way of life. Yes or no? That's what you said, right? The way of life of the Prophet. Do you agree with that?
Well, the hadith is the speech of the Prophet.
Oh, the speech of the Prophet. Yeah.
And that is,
So-
which basically means the way he
Live his life.
practiced and lived.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So how can it be possible that the Quran was refuting the hadith, which we are talking about now, even though it hadn't been quoted hadith yet?
See, as I said, you're justifying now something that you
No, just answer the question.
Okay, so why am I wrong? Okay, tell
Yeah,
me I'm wrong because A, B, C, D.
Because you've decided to accept the idea that the hadith that the Quran was talking about is not the hadith that come after the Quran was revealed.
Okay,
That's
so
what you're saying. You know, because you're legitimizing
No,
what
but
it is.
you have to understand something, please. Can I just make one point to you, yeah? There's a difference between what you call a lughawi definition, a language definition, and what you call an istilahi definition, which is a terminological definition. Now, the words in Arabic, like for example, the word tawheed or the word hijab, we were just talking about with some sisters, yeah? They came after the Quran. So the word hijab, for example, is never meant of the hijab of a woman like that. The Quran it never mentions that kind of hijab in that way for a woman. It talks about khimar and jilbab. That's the word of the Quran. Afterwards, people came and they said, okay, let's use the word hijab because it acts like a barrier anyways, yeah? That's what the word means. The word tawheed, it means the oneness of God. It's mentioned Sahih Muslim, but it's not mentioned anywhere in the Quran, the word tawheed. Therefore, we're not going to say that we don't believe in tawheed. We believe in tawheed, the idea of submitting to one God. Yet the terminological definition of the word tawheed, it came afterwards, but we accept that meaning, is concurrent with the Islamic message, Now, since now we can differentiate between terminological definitions and linguistic definitions, the linguistic definition of the word hadith means speech, literally speech. When we come to refer to the hadith, We are talking more than just speech. We are talking about the Prophet's three things actually: his life, his speech, his actions, and what he said it's okay to do. In other words, we're referring to what's commonly referred to as the Sunnah. The Sunnah meaning the way of the Prophet. Now, it's impossible for Allah to have said in the Quran that فَلْيَأْتُوا بِحَدِيثٍ مِثْلِهِ إِن كُنتُم صَادِقِينَ, that let them bring a hadith like it if they are true. In chapter 52 verse 34, that means the hadith of the hadith, basically the collections of sayings and actions, etc. Because if you are saying it says that, then you're basically saying that the Prophet's words and actions and his saying things are good or bad is in fact in congruence. It's not in line. It's not in line with the Quran, which would be impossible, because it says in the Quran, in chapter 3 of the Quran, "In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah, fattabi'uni yuhibbukum Allah." He says that if you love Allah, if you love Allah, then follow me and Allah will love you back.
Absolutely, that's what I'm doing.
So what I'm saying is,
So how do you follow the Prophet?
oh, thank you very much. Now the answer is
Not through that, through the last and final testament, because that's what he was following.
yeah. So let's follow.
And that's what we need to be following.
Let's follow the last and
Just
final
keep
testament.
missing the point.
Yes.
About that, because that's such a profound. That basically sums up your whole argument. It sums up your argument so profoundly. Hadith, like it just demonstrates basically. By the way, I mean no offense by this at all. Is that you said it yourself? We rely on translations when you don't understand the Arabic. That's completely fair enough.
Yeah.
Completely fair enough. I rely on translation sometimes.
Yeah, but you're right when you say that I rely on translation, but then it comes back to an
So
early point
that's
that
completely-
said,
that's completely
if you are
fine.
really secret of the truth, are you really looking for the right path, the divine path, Allah will show you any inconsistencies, whether it's in Arabic translation, or whether it's in English translation, or whether it's in a Chinese translation.
Completely fine.
You just gotta first really sincerely believe
All
La
I'm
ilaha
saying-
illallah, and you gotta really believe that you're looking for the
All I'm
truth,
saying
because
is,
you want to be on the right path.
If you will rely on translation, which is completely fair enough.
Exactly,
it's
because
completely
Allah
fine.
is azm.
It's completely fine.
Absolutely.
Why then make claims about a language which is not your own, which is not something that is intrinsic? So he's saying this hadith we don't even know what hadith means. Like, hadith as a term, it's true. You know how to use it as a verb? No, we don't. So why then go ahead and say hadith as that thing which Muhammad mentioned, which is the way of life of the Prophet, is that hadith which was mentioned in the Quran, even though it hadn't existed in that term yet.
No, that's your understanding, innit? That it didn't exist. I'm telling you, it didn't exist.
Okay,
Because
tell me
the
about
verse
it.
in the Quran where Allah says that all you, when you enter the Prophet's house to eat, I think it's Surah 33, verse 15. Yeah. That when you enter the Prophet's house to eat and do not sit there waiting for a hadith because it annoys the Prophet.
Yeah, that means speech.
Yeah.
So he's speaking.
No, use the word Arabic here. Use the word hadith.
That's right.
that's
I
right.
agree.
Because
that's right.
To me, what that means is during his time they were trying to do it, and he was telling them, "No, don't do it." No, listen. This is your understanding. This is my understanding, because your understanding is based on hadith. The very thing
it's
that
based on
Allah,
Quran.
the very,
No, it's actually based on language. It's actually based on language.
thing
We haven't even got
that
into-
Allah is using a negative context. But don't
Okay.
sit there waiting for the hadith
Okay.
because it annoys the Prophet.
Can I ask you a question?
And he's too shy to
Can
tell
I ask you one question? Yeah.
Yeah.
This argument is not correct, because the Arabic says, "ولا مستأنسين لحديث." Yeah. Don't be talking like annoying the Prophet when because he is shy to let you guys go. Now listen.
Don't sit there waiting for the hadith.
Listen, there's nothing to do with hadith.
Yes, it is.
No, hold on, please. Yeah, let me ask you a question, right?
Translate it word for word to
Please,
me.
please, I will do in a second. Yeah, but let me just tell you something, yeah? If I ask you a question, let me ask you a question, yeah? If I ask you, if in the Quran, forget about the Quran for now, if I ask you a question, you know the hadith? You know the hadith? The hadith that we write, yeah? Okay, the hadith that we write, should we be narrating them in our houses? Should we be speaking about them, yes or no?
Okay, so we got to make a clear distinction here.
Do you know the hadith
We've
that
got to
we've
make
got?
a very distinction here. This is about getting to Jannah.
I'm
This is
just-
about,
I'm just-
I'm trying to answer your question.
No,
brother.
so the hadith
This
that
is
we've got,
about getting to
Bukhari,
Jannah.
Muslim, all this kind of
This
stuff.
is about
Should we say that at
pleasing
home?
Allah,
Yeah.
and this is about trying to follow the footsteps of all the prophets, right? So we're not talking about any other hadiths that you write at home or writing down.
No, okay.
Or this hadith
No,
that we're
right,
having
okay,
now.
fine. I'm just talking
we're
about
talking about
the hadith of the Prophet.
of the Prophet
So we should
and the
not-
hadith of the Qur'an.
Just please, it should be yes or no answer, yeah? The question of the Prophet's, what he says, what we believe the Prophet says. Your position is that we shouldn't mention that at all because we should only rely on the Quran, yeah? Okay, you know what you've said here is against the Quran.
Go on.
Because Because in chapter 33 of the Qur'an, yeah, in verse like somewhere in the 50s, it says, talking to the Prophet's wives, واذكرن ما يتلى في بيوتكن من آيات الله والحكمة. آيات الله is the Quran, and the Hikmah is what?
Quran as well, the hikmah, the wisdom.
Okay, now here's where you go wrong.
No, you got to translate to me.
Please stop.
You got to translate to me.
You got to calm down.
Yeah, we got to translate.
It says,
not interpret it, translate it. It's an
every translation is an interpretation anyways. That's what you're missing.
No, you got to translate for the word for word.
Please. And he's talking about Prophet's wives. And mention that which is mentioned in your house of Allah's ayat, his verses, and the hikmah, the wisdom. Okay. In Arabic, you have a qaida, you have a principle. Qaida is not the Greek, I'm not talking about the Greek. You have a principle. If something is put together, then they're different from each other. Yeah, okay. You're talking about Arabic, yeah? Since you're talking about the Quran, you have to accept that we are using Arabic principles to govern our translations. But based on this principle, if two words are put together in Arabic, min ayatillahi wal hikmah, they must differentiate. They must be different. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense in Arabic to repeat the same thing twice. My question to you is: when Allah Subhanahu wa Taala says, "Wathkurna ma yutla fi buyutikunna min ayatillahi wal hikmah," why did he differentiate between ayatillah, which are the verse of the Quran, and the hikmah, which is something else? And what is the hikmah?
Translate the verse. I can't answer the question without you translating word for word.
It says, and mention واذكرن ما يتلى في بيوتكن.
No, keep the Arabic out. Just do word for word translation.
But I'm trying to do it bit by bit, bro. Like, so I'm saying
the Arabic's going right over my head.
I know that's the part of the problem. واذكرن, and mention what is recited in your homes, recited in your homes, or said in your homes, recited from ayatillahi, the verses of Allah, the Quran, the ayat, the verses of the Quran, or the evidences, the signs of Allah, wal hikmah, and the wisdom. Now we said that the principle of Arabic language is that when you put two things together, they can't be the same. إذا تفرق اجتمع إذا اجتمع تفرق اجتمع. If they come together, they are different in meaning. Now I'm asking you, if ayat and hikmah, we know for a fact they are different, so what is the hikmah, and how comes it's being recited in the house?
Let me say one thing. This comes back right to the beginning of believing in La ilaha illallah. This comes back to believing, let me finish, believing that the book is the last and final testament. And Allah says in Surah 6 verse 114, shall I seek other than Allah as a judge who has sent down to you this book fully detailed? So if you believe that this book is fully detailed, when Allah says it is not one verse, many verses, meaning that for you to get to Jannah, for you to understand how the prophets live, for you to how to practice salah, how to practice.
No, answer my question, and
I'm trying to answer your question.
But that's nothing to do with what
because it goes back to basics. If your foundation is wrong, it's going to get corrupted as you go further on.
I'm just asking.
The wisdom of the Quran is within the Quran.
Okay, fine.
That's what you got to understand.
We're trying to take
the hikmah is in the Quran.
No, but that's not what the Quran says. Hey, listen. This verse is very important.
Of course, he said hikmah.
Okay, let me just tell him one thing. This verse is incredibly important. Why? Because it reveals three things. It reveals wathkurna, it's an amr. It's actually a command to the Prophet's wives. Ma yutla fi buyutikunna. What is being mentioned in your house? Min ayatillahi, from the verse of Allah, wal hikmah, and the wisdom.
Yeah.
Now you're saying the wisdom and the verse of Allah are the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that goes against the Arabic language.
No, let me explain to you. Because the Prophet was the best example.
No, but you can't go against the Arabic language.
Because he followed the Quran as meant to.
Okay, now I think.
Let me finish with that, because you keep talking.
Yeah.
Because he followed the Quran the way that it was meant to be followed, he received the hikmah from the Quran. So when he was reading or reciting it was coming with the hikmah.
Alright, so the hikmah was the Prophet.
But when you got somebody like Salman Rushdie reading or reciting the Quran, there's no hikmah coming from that. He's just receiving.
Is the hikmah here?
Yeah.
The Prophet's actions or his manifestation of the Quran? How he enacted the Quran?
How did he? Okay, say that again.
in your opinion,
Yeah.
is the hikmah, and this is the last thing I'm going to say to you.
Wisdom.
Yeah, the wisdom, the hikmah, and it's also pronounced hukmah.
Okay.
Yeah, this hikmah, this verse, is it referring to how the Prophet enacted the Quran, how he understood the Quran, what he did? That's what you just said.
No, I'm saying to you that you're saying that you can't conflate the two, the hikmah
And the ayat.
and the ayat. You
They're
can. I'm
different.
saying you can if you believe in the very basic
I'm
concept
telling, bro,
of
please, you have to stick within the rules of Arabic language.
No, we're talking about the Quran. We're
No,
not talking
the
about
Quran's
any
an Arabic
language.
book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says
You want to
he
stick
revealed it
within
in
that
Arabic.
criteria.
Yeah, okay. He revealed it in Arabic language.
Yeah.
لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ.
Allah knew that
so that you can
translated.
understand. Okay.
He knew it's going to get translated
Yeah,
to many different languages, brother.
Please, listen to me.
أنزلنا إليكم القرآن عربيا.
لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ. Okay, listen. What I'm saying to you is, if it's translated, when the translator is doing his work, mustn't he stick within the confines of what's possible, what's logical, what's grammatical in that language?
Yeah,
If he doesn't do that, he can just make any Quran up, isn't it?
absolutely.
Okay, so we're saying now, based on this verse and based on the principles of Arabic language, we can't say that the ayat and the hikmah are the same thing, because the way atf here differentiates them, which means the conjunction in English you have something called a conjunctive phrase. The and here it differentiates them from each other. My question is, so how comes you have the ayat and the hikmah as two different things?
That's how you understand it, innit? Or that's how you've
Okay,
been led
that's
to understand
Arabic.
it.
That's Arabic.
No, but I'm telling you the hikmah
That's
is
the rule.
within the Quran. That's the
No,
rules
but
that you've
that's-
learned.
that means you're rejecting
what I
the
said,
Quran.
brother. No, I'm not rejecting the
You're
Quran. I'm
rejecting-
saying
that means you're
that's
rejecting the Quran.
because your basic foundation of belief is built on the wrong basis.
Why are you the wrong
Are you now rejecting the Quran? Because what
No,
you're-
I'm not rejecting
Okay, no,
it.
let me tell you. No,
Astaghfirullah,
astaghfirullah. No, but no, listen,
No
because
way.
now it's dangerous territory for you, yeah?
No, it's not dangerous.
No, it's very
Absolutely
dangerous.
not.
Wallah, it's very, very dangerous.
No,
Let me
no,
tell you
no,
why.
absolutely.
So you just said astaghfirullah.
Yeah, because you're saying that somebody
you get that
accusing
from,
me
brother?
of denouncing
that
the
means
Quran, and I'm saying, no way do I denounce
So you said
the Quran.
astaghfirullah because I seek forgiveness from Allah, right?
Of course.
Because you know that means that.
In other words,
You know,
that you're accusing me
astaghfirullah.
of something that God forbid that I will never ever, I never ever reject the Quran or denounce the Quran, and for the record said I don't denounce the
using
Prophet.
the same rules that you applied when you said
No, see,
astaghfirullah.
what you're trying to do
Using
with
the
all the
same
sheikhs
Now
are
you
doing,
can't use
is trying to
Arabic, we
control
can't use Hadith,
and
we can't
manipulate
use
and be
tafsir,
control of
we
the
can't
book.
use anything, it's
You're
impossible.
saying that nobody else can understand it. That's what you're basically
But
saying.
okay, I'm just
You're
saying-
saying that for you to understand the last word of God,
Please,
you need
bro.
man's intervention into it.
No,
For you to understand
listen,
it.
of course.
I mean,
But yet,
using a
I'm
translation-
telling you,
using a
it doesn't
translation.
matter because
That's
all
the man's-
what's the
languages-
benefit of
That's the
scholars?
man's
Sorry?
intervention.
What's the benefit of scholars?
Scholars, that's a good question. What benefits are scholars when there are so many different sects? There's so many violence within Islam right now. What are the
So
benefits
what does
of
the
a
Quran
scholar?
mean when it says فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ?
No, because-
before.
No,
Anyways,
the Prophet-
I think here, I'm gonna end this because I think here, this verse, it reveals three
No,
things.
because
Please,
you know what?
please,
No,
please,
because
please.
you don't believe the hikmah is in the Quran, brother. You don't believe it is. I'm saying it
I'm
is.
telling you that
I'm
it's, the
saying it
Quran
is.
is telling you it's not. The
No,
Quran,
no, it's how you using the hadith to understand it.
No hadith,
You're,
I'm not
telling-
using any hadith.
you're using scholars to understand it. You're saying
I'm
Arabic
not-
language.
I'm not using any hadith.
I'm telling you, brother.
I'm using Arabic language.
Allah says in the Quran, in Surah 2, verse 185, the month of Ramadan in which we set down the
Okay.
Quran as a
I
guide
think-
for the people, and the clarification of the guidance, and the clarification of the criteria.
thank you very much.
So what is that saying? Akhi, you don't got to understand what that's saying. Allah said that this
how's that
Quran
rejecting
is going to
hadith?
guide you. This Quran is going to clarify to you what the guidance is. This Quran is going to tell you what the criteria is. Therefore, you will get the hikmah
Okay.
if you believe in these three concepts.
I say to you now.
If you don't believe,
Okay, thank you very much.
if you
I
don't
agree
believe
with you.
Allah,
I agree.
you don't believe Rahman,
Sah, sah.
you don't believe Rahim,
Yeah.
you don't believe Rabb, you don't believe Malik, you don't believe these. Forget it.
Exactly.
You got to understand these concepts.
Listen.
Why does Allah use these different
Please,
concepts?
please,
Why?
please.
Why do you do so many different titles for?
Okay, now you're just becoming emotional.
No, okay,
yeah,
no.
because we need to get. This is the last
If
thing
you
I'm
look
gonna
at the
say.
video,
The last thing.
you'll be more talking and I'll be doing more listening. And it gets frustrated when you don't let me make a point. And then when I'm reciting a verse to you, you completely reject the verses. You don't even want to hear the verses. That's not right. You should listen
I've
to
never
whatever
rejected one
verse.
verse today.
No, you
That's
you
a bad-
reject
that's a
them.
bad- that's a bad thing to
You
say.
reject my verses by ignoring them and not hearing them.
Okay.
That is a form of rejection. And there are two examples in the Quran of two people. Allah tells you about the magicians of Pharaoh. And you got to understand, you got to understand how powerful Pharaoh was. Pharaoh was more powerful than any superpower today. And the Pharaoh and these magicians said that if we are the winners, what are you going to give
Okay,
us?
what I'm saying.
So now you see, now you're ignoring again.
Okay, I'm not ignoring it.
Go on, you say what you say, brother. It's fine.
Okay, please. Yeah, fine. Okay, you're right about everything you just said. Okay, no problem.
You're just saying it's been an
No,
argument.
wallahi, I'm not trying to win any argument. Wallah, I'm just trying to put it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
There's one verse in the Quran, in Surah Al-Ahzab, chapter 33 of the Quran. I'm guessing it's somewhere in the 50, like maybe verse 58 or something. But check it up. Yeah. Actually, wait a minute.
I'll get for you.
Verse 35, I think. Yeah. I think it's verse 35.
What surah?
Chapter 33, verse I think, Surah Al-Ahzab. I think verse 34. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Anyway, sorry. Is it verse 34? Verse 33, verse 34.
I'm checking.
Yeah, anyways. It says here, وَاذْكُرْنَ مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Is that right? Verse 34, yeah?
Give me 1 minute.
Anyways, is that verse 34?
No, I don't know.
Okay, someone's going to
just,
anyways,
just translate it.
anyways. And mention that which is recited in your house from the ayat of Allah, the verse of Allah, and the hikmah. Now please listen carefully. In Arabic language, since Arabic is the language where the Qur'an itself says, Inna anzalnahu Qur'an Arabiyya, we have certainly sent it down in Arabic Qur'an.
34 is 34.
Therefore, okay, so it's right. We have certainly sent it down in Arabic Qur'an so that you can understand. So in other words, in order for us to understand the Qur'an, what language must we use? According to the Qur'an, Arabic.
Because they were Arabs it came to.
Okay, fine.
But Allah knew in His great plan it's going to travel
You're right.
the world.
So you're right. But now I'm saying to you, you're absolutely right. So we have to use the principles of Arabic in order to understand this verse. Okay. We're not, no hadith, please. Don't tell me anything about hadith. I'm making it so clear. I'm putting the hadith to the side now.
Only if that was true. Go
Please,
on.
don't say that because it's annoying. It's annoying. I'm saying no hadith, yeah? I'm not using any hadith here. I'm saying, وَاذْكُرْنَا, first word, talking to the woman, the wives of the Prophet, and mention, مَا يُتْلَى فِي بُيُوتِكُنَّ, whatever is mentioned in your homes, مِنْ آيَاتِ اللَّهِ, from the ayat of Allah, wal hikmah, and the hikmah, which is the wisdom.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that.
Now in Arabic, I've said to you before, when the waw, this harf is a letter. Waw is a conjunctive letter. Yeah, it puts two things which are different from each other next to each other. You cannot say two things are the same and put them together. It doesn't work in Arabic. It doesn't even work in English. It doesn't even work in English. You can't say Cameron and Cameron went to the park. It just doesn't make any sense.
Unless it's two different cameras.
Yeah, unless it's two different cameras,
Yeah,
right?
but this is. I see. I agree with. We're coming back to the same part of what I said to you
Please,
before.
please.
You can only get.
Just
the
let me finish,
hikmah
please.
of the-
You've got to now, because the Quran now is going to come to you, either accept or reject it. Now, if I say I was riding a bike and a bike, does that make sense?
No, see,
No, okay, fine.
let's talk about the Quran here.
Okay, I'm saying even in English it doesn't make sense, let alone Arabic.
No, talk about the Quran.
Fine. So here there's an instruction from Allah to the women who are the wives of the Prophet to recite the ayat of Allah, which are the verses of Allah, and recite something else. Or mention something else.
No, translate it word for word. what it says.
وَاذْكُرْنَا,
No, Arabic, not Arabic, English.
وَاذْكُرْنَا, word for word. وَاذْكُرْنَا, and you women folk, مَا يُتْلَى, what is recited, فِي بِيُوتِكُنَّ, in your houses, min ayatillahi, from the ayat of Allah, wal hikmah, and the wisdom.
Yeah, and the wisdom.
Okay.
This is where we disagree now.
Okay, now please.
Because I said
what
to
I'm
you
saying
that
is,
the
please,
hikmah
but now you have to do.
comes from the Quran.
Listen, I don't disagree so far, but what I'm saying, it's not the same thing as the Quran.
Yes, it is.
Okay, now
You
you've
can't-
now you've committed a fallacy.
No, I haven't. Because you can only get the.
There's nothing I can do.
No, brother, you
You've
can
rejected
only.
the Quran.
No, brother, I've not. Because
Yeah,
you can
okay.
only get the hikmah
You've
in the
rejected the
Quran if you believe in the.
Anyways, I'll leave it to you.
If you believe in the oneness of Allah and you believe.
I'm telling you in Arabic
Brother, let me
language,
finish.
it's
No,
impossible.
Forget about the language.
Forget about that. Khalas, I can't do anything.
No,
Forget
we're talking about
I can't do
hikmah.
anything.
No, brother, we're talking about hikmah here.
So how do you define hikmah? How do you define it?
I'm telling you, for you to get the hikmah of the
Can't get it. I
Quran,
can't.
you have to believe in every word that is said in there, and you have to
Anyways.
apply it. And when the Creator
I
tells
think we have to
you,
stop it.
let me finish, brother.
Okay, bro.
When the Creator says that this is the book that's going to guide you to heaven, and you're going to follow the footsteps of the Prophet, and you believe in the unseen that everything in this book is here,
But how do you know it says
you
that?
believe in that,
Anyways.
then you'll get the hikmah from the Quran. Then the wisdom will come.
Anyways, thank you.
The wisdom will.
Okay. I can't do it anymore.
Because I'm not a Christian.
It's amusing how you keep saying like, forget about Arabic, even though you're using a
No,
translation.
because you're trying to legitimize your understanding
Even
your
though
hadith
even
because
though
you need
using-
you
even
need to
though using
understand
a
the Arabic
translation.
language.
Forget
Even
about
though
the
using a
hadith. He said
translation.
he's using the Quran, and you.
The point is,
using-
every
and you
translation
using-
you use relies on
you're
Arabic.
using
So
your
you
own
cannot
idea.
forget.